This is round 2. Oh, hello, we've done it. Boogie, you've done it again. Boogie and Vale Ritchie had just a bit of a come together under the start. Looks like we've got Ron Marshall decides he's going to try and get a lap put on himself as well as he crawls under the transponder tapes to get those sorted out. So Greg Brooks, or affectionately known as Boogie from Newcastle, gets tied up with a bit of an endo with Vale Ritchie on the at the start. They never even got to the first corner before it was carnage. But they're off and running now. It puts them back near the rear of the field. But, Boogie and Vale will really try their hardest to make up that bit of lost ground. I'm sure they will. In fact, unfortunately, Vale's might have done a little bit of damage to his car because it's not handling all that good now. He's getting the tail around all over the place. And it may be just nerves, but I'm sure he'll settle down. But in the meantime, Rick Bartolozzi from Sydney, who won the first round, provisionally won the first round, has scooted out to the front again and driving very, very well. The race leader goes onto the straight. And the check flag car of David Crowe has moved into second, trying to stay with Rick. So the main tyres at this stage is between the second and third spot, and that's David Crowe in second, Reece Birtles from Victoria in third, trying everything he can to close up that gap to take second spot. And meanwhile, these two are tossing each other, gives Rick a clear run. He does scoot away, but he's not pulling away that much. He's got that comfortable buffer which he had in the first race. And he's dragging second and third place along with him. So the race leader goes onto the straight, over the jump, plants it beautifully over that. As David Crowe makes up a little bit of ground as he gets a better line onto the straight and picks up probably 5 or 6 car lengths onto the straight, and in doing so he drags along Reece Birtles. Already Rick in the white flag, the race leader, is starting to close up on some of the back markers. And that is Greg Brooks and Vale Ritchie, who unfortunately had that little mix-up at the start. The brown flag car of Stuart Grant is in holding fourth, but he's dropped right back from these front-running 3 cars. And that's Rick Bartolozzi. The white flag car is in front. David Crowe and the checkered flag car is in second. Reece Birtles, the yellow, is in third. The other thing also, with Greg Brooks in this one, he's driving a car which he hasn't really driven. He's given up his Losi for this race because he thinks the RC10 of Ross Kramer, one of the guys from Illawarra, he's borrowed his car. So Greg's doing a pretty good job to make an A final with a car that he hasn't driven before. But the race leader, Rick Bartolozzi, is being challenged now by David Crowe, as David comes right up behind Rick and closed right up the ground there, and it was virtually nose to tail, but Rick got a better line onto the straight and pulled away on the straight. So the challenge is being thrown out thick and fast. The 2 different lines you see between Rick Bartolozzi and David Crowe, as David keeps the tail hanging around all over the place and sliding around the corners, where Rick Bartolozzi just puts it in the corner and just feeds that power on. It may be the speed control, which we've heard so much about, that purge speed control. Is that the difference? We don't know. But whatever it is, seems to be working for Rick as he just eases that power on, and there's no wheel spin at all. And where David Crowe is just hitting the power and doing some beautiful 4-wheel drifts in that car. Reece Birtles in the yellow flag car is still currently holding in third, and he's not letting David Crowe get away. Long gap back to fourth. We've got Rick Bartolozzi just about to put a lap on the green flag car, and that's Greg Collins, one of his... in fact, I think Rick Collins is one of the sponsors for Rick Bartolozzi. So it's not too bad when your driver can come up and pass your sponsor. Well, I'm sure Greg will move over and let Rick come through, which he does. Nice driving then by Greg Collins. So Rick Bartolozzi now has opened up a little bit of a lead over David Crowe. Not much distance now from David Crowe to Rhys Birtles. Probably only around about 8 or 10 car lengths separating second and third. But as we saw in the first race, this is much the same. It's getting near the end of the race now. So that should be Rick Bartolozzi's last lap. And it's a tussle out for second and third as Rhys Birtles tries to jump on second, but doesn't quite make it. Looks like David Crowe has held on the second spot. So Rick Bartolozzi looks as though he's won round 2 of the A final. Looks like they're all just about out there doing a victory lap now because the race has well and truly finished.